Hello, Gold Coast Race Mowers here again with our build clip number 2. Today we're going to cover things like fitting the axle, exhaust and our steering console. The steering components will be fitted in our next clip. Here we're just cutting a sleeve that goes over the axle between the bearing and the hub. We'll cut 2 of these. Stainless steel. Rather tough on the consoule blades. Here's our components to make up the axle. We have a hub and a flange, which I've previously welded all the bolts in with our nuts on the end. Got a keyway there, and our main axle that goes into that keyway, a bit hard to see, and a bolt that goes in the end of the axle to stop the hub. We have a bearing and our nuts or hardware that go with it. There's our sleeve we just cut, and it goes between those two. We have a brake rotor here. This is being laser cut with the same hub that goes on the flange for the bolt wheels to bolt up onto. And we've TIG welded that all the way around, and then we've done a MIG over the top. A key and a keyway again. Our sprocket, we've purchased the sprocket with our nuts and bolts there that'll hold it onto the axle. More hardware for the other side, so that's the same over. And another sleeve. And another hub. Keyway again, and our bolt that goes in the end. I've put a 600mm or 2-foot rule on the bench so you get the idea of what sort of size things are. Okay, here we go. We're going to put it together now. We'll start by putting the bearings in place, making sure that our grease nipple point is to the outside. Slip the bolts through. You may have noticed in the previous video the axle was in place. I pulled it all back out just to show you guys how it does go together. Just pinch these up. We need to leave them loose until we do the final fit up when we put the chain on. And then you'll see me measure the axle from a given point on the chassis. The chassis is quite true in size. Symmetrical both sides, so we can pick any point on the chassis to line up later. Back that one up a little bit too tight, let it slide. So it slides backwards and forwards. We'll do the same to the other side. This is a metric axle, 25mm, not inch. So again, just hit them up. Let the actual assembly slide backwards and forwards. If you're building a long-term project and your axle fits around a little bit, it's going to get a little bit of oxidisation on it, so you might have to rub it with some fine wet and dry or emery paper before you actually try to slide your components on. I did that previous to running the video clip. This should just slide straight through. Plug it in so far. We've got the brake rotor. You'll see later when we fit the brake caliper, there is a reason why this hub goes on this way and we don't turn it around the other way. It's where it lines up with the key in the axle. Again, all that was done on the previous CAD model. I didn't put spaces between here because they can't move, the components can't move, the brake rotor and the sprocket can't move, they're locked in place, the brake caliper holds them in. Then you slide the sleeve on there. Well, I didn't need those sleeves on the inside. But that sleeve that we've just put on will stop the whole axle sliding left to right. Once this bolt that I'm putting in there goes in. go through at the end when it's time to do the final adjustments and setup once we put the chain on and the brake calipers in place. And these little nuts that I'm putting in, or bolts that I'm putting in the end now, they'll come back out and we'll actually Loctite them in to the semi-permanent Loctite. Screw the bolts in. I'll take that back out later, like I said, and put the Loctite in. You may notice there on the top of that hub, the grey hub, is a headset bolt. It's an M8. I've used a set bolt or a set screw, depending on where you live, terminology, rather than using a grub screw. They can be quite difficult to get out if your Allen keys don't fit. Balance is not that important. These things don't rotate that quickly. I had a predetermined mark on this brake rotor as to where it lines up on the axle, but I may need to move it when I go to fit the brake caliper. You can notice just above my hand there, that's the bracket that the brake caliper will mount to. Key in. This all looks pretty simple, but it was pre-assembled, as I said earlier. It just all slides together neatly for me. Again, put the set bolt in. That push there was just to see where it's lined up. The bearings, where they're mounted onto the chassis, the hole is quite big, so we just need to make sure that that's sitting correctly. Again, I haven't pinched them up. This will be close. Once we do these little set screws up, rub screws, in the actual bearing, that will lock that axle in place, and then I can go forward and get the rule and line the sprockets up. Turn it over and pinch this one up. This axle won't need to come out again, so it'll stay in until we go to ride, so we can lock these down. So we're going to line this sprocket up on the rear. This is a 39 tooth sprocket. At the top of the screen you can just see the blue sprocket that was mounted on the gearbox you would have seen in the earlier video. These need to be dead lined up. So by pushing that forward, I know that the axle is straight sitting in the chassis. No need to check that now. We've got that lined up. Now we'll pinch up the set screw, or hex bolt. Like I said, just pinch it up for now. We don't want to score that axle too deep. I did put a bit too much pressure on that, didn't I? Right, we're moving on to exhaust. This is a still image of the pipe getting welded, TIG welded. We started with some cones there into a 2-inch and then back down to 32. Here's our finished items. A couple of tags there. You'll see where they go onto the chassis. These are all mandrel bend and then welded. Little flare out there to an 1.5 or 38mm diameter exit pipe. 2-inch little hot dog or muffler. And a little sleeve there to slip into the pipe that goes to the engine, which you'll see in a later clip. Well, what we're going to do here is we're going to sit this pipe in place on the frame. This side hasn't been drilled, the other side has. So just put a vice grip on there, C-clamp. Going to hold that there until we get a drill and mark the other two little holes you can see there. So just put a little center mark there. Hold it straight with your hand. Put a vice grip on the front one now. rear one, center one. They're drawn out now. It's an M10 hole, metric 10. Do that to all 3 holes we just did. Like I said, the other left-hand side has already been done. This is a nut set. Screw this on here. You pull it like a pot with it. And insert it into the chassis. And just squeeze like a pair of pop river pliers. And that saves us having to draw and tap, as I mentioned in the earlier videos. Fit the left hand side, you won't see us fit the right. Pretty much symmetrical, a bit hard when you're custom fabricating things to get exactly perfect. Not sort of item you can put into a jig, because the tags all are on different sides, so look, that's the hole. The orange you can see on the side of the pipe is just a reflection of the shirt. These pipes won't stay mirror finished for long. From about the hot dog pipe or muffler forward, it'll go a browny, tanny sort of a colour. It'll start out blue and then it'll tan off. It's not worth keep polishing them. Okay, that's that side. Repeat to the other side. I'm going to fit a console now. It's a little hard to do to lift it in place, keep it all in shot, so I dropped it on without you guys seeing it. And we just got to put a couple of bolts in. That's basically all that holds this in place. There's a couple of M6 metal threads, just the way it's been structured. It is the original Husqvarna grey dash, if you like, and the rest of it I fabricated by hand, just out of sheet metal. It looks very similar to the original. It's just a little wider at the bottom because the chassis is a bit wider than what the Husqvarna chassis is. Pinch them up, repeat the other side. Well, that's about it for today. I'll give you a quick walk around and show you what we've done with our pipes that we fitted, both sides. See the wiring hanging down there, that's all been pre-wired. Little tags all over the chassis, little plastic adhesive tags. Put a cable tie through to hold them in place. Pipes again. The gearbox there, all lined up. Hubs. Pretty standard stuff. Now next clip, we'll put the steering in, maybe mount the battery. Well, that's all I got for you this week. So subscribe and stay tuned, and I'll see you on the next video clip.